Pixar have some of the most impressive work to show when it comes to animation. Since they began, they have pushed the boundaries on animation, and while some films aren't as successful as others, I always feel like they are trying something different every time. Every Pixar film offers something unique. Pixar have a wonderful formula for creating worlds that sometimes coexist in our own, whether it's a story from bugs, toys, or monsters in our closet. Pixar just seem to have a way of creating ideas and worlds that extend our imagination, and they use animation to heighten those worlds. If you're a fan of Pixar animation like I am, then support the channel by hitting the like button and subscribing to help the channel grow more and more. I've been the Average Critic, and let's continue with the video. Sometimes Pixar go very abstract in worlds like Inside Out, Soul, and Elemental, or sometimes it can be an interesting idea, like what if dinosaurs didn't die out, or what if mystical creatures were real. Pixar have this fascinating way of creating stories around whimsical and nuanced worlds to create stories that feel different, but we can also relate to. Even Pixar films that contain humans in them have some form of unrealistic moments that allow audiences to keep their imagination going, like talking dogs in Up and superheroes in The Incredibles. This is almost the biggest problem Disney don't seem to understand in their live-action remakes, is the reason these films work in animation is because it allows the audience to have an imagination. Putting something into live action, it is hindered by real-life physics. But sticking eyebrows on a fish and having them talk allows you to go along with it because it works in animation, but not in real life. Pixar's standard for world building, even in its less successful films, have always been interesting. It doesn't mean you can always have a successful film, but it makes for every film experience feel different. Compare this to something like Disney's formula of doing Disney princesses, even now with their new film Wish. Disney have a very successful formula of creating stories around a female princess of some sort. Films like Frozen, Moana, and Raya the Last Dragon all follow this formula in different ways. But even though these films are successful and I like all of them, what makes Pixar feel special is its originality to try something different. That's what made Pixar's film Brave so odd. It doesn't feel like a film made by Pixar, and yet Wreck-It Ralph, made by Disney, feels more like a Pixar movie. It's interesting that both these films came out in 2012. It's almost like the two scriptwriters bumped into each other and got their scripts mixed up. But Pixar's formula for creating a world for their movie always means it feels different every time. But looking at the last 3 Pixar movies that just came out, Turning Red, Lightyear, and Elemental, all of these films receive mixed reviews from audience and critics, but they are vastly different to one another and offer something incredibly different. Turning Red, despite having a very strong voice, offers some unique animation and incredible humor. Lightyear, despite not being as emotional as others, offers a great sci-fi action movie with nods to classic sci-fi films, and Elemental offers a very strong love story at the front and center. Pixar always choose to expand on their repertoire and try new things, even if it's not quote-unquote successful. After films like Lightyear and Elemental, audiences are wondering if studios like Pixar are falling under the Hollywood downfall of films perhaps not being up to the standard that they have been in the past. And while Pixar films lately have been up and down, they always try something unique and different every time. It doesn't help with the rise of Disney Plus that Pixar films fall into the area of like Disney films and Marvel films. Some of them are just being shoved onto their streaming platform without having a proper theatrical introduction. I'm talking about you, Soul. Bring that film back to the cinema, I say. I will even admit, even I don't bother buying the newest Pixar film on DVD thanks to the film being placed on Disney Plus only a few months later after its release. It used to be that Disney and Pixar films would mainly come out in July around the summertime, and it wouldn't be available again until the DVD came out in December, which meant marketing for their film became an essential asset for Disney and Pixar. Now, they just stick it on Disney Plus and add it to the roster to sit on a digital shelf. It just annoys me that films like Lightyear get a lot of hate because it is massively compared to the IP it came from, as well as Pixar's previous work, when that film tried something massively different to something Pixar have never done before. And while sure, Lightyear isn't the best Pixar movie, and even I wanted more from it, this was their first time doing a full-scale action sci-fi movie. It gave us something different and unique because of Pixar's formula to create a world, expanding on something that is very different and unique every time. So what is the Pixar formula? To create worlds we can relate to, an idea that is interesting, and to try something unique. And while having a creative world doesn't really mean anything if your story isn't well written and have interesting characters, it does mean that Pixar are always trying to come up with something different every time, and I must applaud that. You can definitely feel that Pixar are being controlled more by Disney, and it is a big shame because Pixar is one of my greatest passions. It's a reason I started this channel, and it's a reason I want to keep seeing their films every time. But whether the Pixar film is good or bad, it always creates something different and unique. So thank you for joining me in this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more great content on all your animation movies, and let me know in the comment section what are some of your favorite things about Pixar movies. Let's keep this conversation going. Thank you so much for watching me. I have been the Average Critic, and I will see you all in the next one.